So we're going to talk about some study tips for the IELTS exam. Seem to be having a problem with the audio. Let's just check to make sure the audio is working. It looks like it's working. Okay, so thank you for watching. Today we're going to talk about 5 different tips for studying English. So these will help a lot with the IELTS exam. These different tips that I will go over, 3 of them are 3 different methods to studying, and 2 are 2 techniques or 2 habits to study in English. So these will all help with studying for the IELTS and just will help you with your general English ability. Okay, so I have a short presentation. We're going to talk about the 5 tips. But first I want to say to make sure you sign up for the email list. You will receive free lessons if you are part of the email list. I sent out a lesson yesterday about reading comprehension, and we will actually talk about that in this presentation about studying, okay, about different tips for studying English. And you will see it in the comments below. You can also access the IELTS course, the practice exam, the reading comprehension. You can also access how to use podcasts. So those are some things we'll talk about for studying English and some tips that you can use. But again, make sure you join the email list. I send out free lessons pretty routinely. Send out at least 1 a week. Okay, and I have actually working on a 10 lesson series. So a 10 lesson series about the IELTS and about scoring a 9 on the IELTS exam. So be sure you join the email list so you can get these lessons. Okay, so let's talk about some tips for studying. So I know a lot of people, maybe you don't have access to a language teacher, or maybe you can't join a course, or you just want to study on your own. So let's talk about some different ways that we can study. Okay, so maybe you are feeling frustrated sometimes when you study. One reason might be because you have no direction for your studying. You don't know what to study, you don't know how to study. Okay, or maybe, actually we'll talk about this too, you don't have a schedule. Okay, so let's talk about successful studying tips. So number 1, study every day. Okay, it does not need to be a lot every day, but even just 15 minutes of studying would be great. Review some vocabulary words. Okay, you can download a lot of different apps to help you with studying vocabulary. You can also create your own memory cards. They're called flashcards. So on one side it's a vocabulary word, on the other side it's the definition. Okay, so make sure you study every day. Listen to podcasts. Okay, so we'll talk about what those are in this little presentation. Reading comprehension, also something we will talk about. Speaking and recording your voice, this is something else. And then creating a schedule, creating a study schedule. Okay, so let's first talk about studying every day. Okay, so it is essential that you study every day. It is essential, it is necessary, it is really important to study every day. If you want to learn a new language, you need to surround yourself with the language as much as possible. Okay, so what does your day look like? Can you wake up earlier in the mornings? For example, if I want to start a new habit, I try to wake up a little early in the mornings so I can have some time in the morning to work on something that I cannot do during the day. Okay, if you wake up early in the mornings, you're awake before you have to take care of other things, before you have to do other things throughout the day. Or can you study after work? Can you set aside time after work? Either way, set aside time every day for studying. Okay, every day does not need to be with a pen and paper. Okay, you can just watch English TV shows every once in a while. Now you still need to study every day or most days with learning vocabulary or learning grammar or reading or listening to English, okay? But some days you can just relax a little bit when you study. Find a favorite TV show. Watch the show in English with English subtitles, and then watch it again with subtitles or the words in your language, and then finally watch it the third time. And that way you will understand the third time in English. Okay, so then the second tip is to listen to podcasts. Okay, so we made a post about this not too long ago. You can check it out in the comments below. But just to talk about it a little bit, podcasts help with reading, listening, and vocabulary. They can also help with pronunciation, because a podcast is like a radio show that you listen to. Okay, it's a show you only listen to. However, a podcast usually comes with a transcript as well. A transcript is the words that the speakers say. So a transcript is everything the speaker says. You can also read it. In my example on the blog post, you can go to a podcast and you can find the podcast. You can listen to the podcast and you can read about the podcast also. So it's exactly what the speaker says are in words as well. So for example, a transcript, if you are watching a video and words show up on the screen, those are called subtitles, but all the words as a whole, the whole paper of every word for the show is called a transcript. So that's tip number 2. Okay, tip number 3, reading comprehension. So read. This will definitely help you improve your English. You'll learn a lot of vocabulary. You'll learn how to understand how to express different ideas in English, okay? We also made a post about reading comprehension. Again, check it out. It's in the comments below. But just to talk about, there are 7 steps of reading comprehension if you have time, okay? So this is not what you want to do for a test, for example. But I suggest you do this when you are studying English. So first, read the story, okay? Read the whole story. Do not stop reading. Only write down, underline, or highlight the words you do not know. Okay, so you should read the story and write down and underline. Do not stop reading. Okay, you need to be sure you choose a story or an article that is not too difficult. It doesn't use words or a lot of words you don't know, just a few, or maybe every 20 words or so, every 10 words maybe. Okay, so it should not be every word. You should know most of the words. Okay, do not stop reading. Finish the story or article. Okay, when you are done reading, look up the words in an English dictionary. Okay, do not translate the words. Okay, this will help you improve your English if you do not simply translate the words. Okay, then if you do not know the meaning from the English dictionary, you can then translate the words. And then next, write your own English definition of the word. Okay, so if you have a word like computer, so this is an easy one, you would look up computer in the English dictionary. It might be difficult to understand what the meaning of the word computer is using a dictionary, but if you translate the word, you know what it is, then you can write your own English definition of computer. So like a device or something that helps you use social media, browse the internet. Okay, you can make up your own English definition. After this, then you can reread the story. Now you know all the words in the article, or you know all the words in the story, and then reread the story. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, so speak and record. When you speak, sometimes you make mistakes you are not aware of when you are speaking. So when you record it, that's why it is important to record your speaking. You can listen to your recording and see what mistakes you made. Okay, you can also take a practice speaking exam on our site. So you can see that in the comments below. This is a way you can record your answer to the exam, listen to your answers, and improve. Okay, so here are some steps for speaking and recording. So first, find a list of questions to answer. Or if you want to just give a long answer about one question, that's okay. But just find some questions to answer. Answer the questions. Okay, make sure you are not responding with one sentence. Maybe add some details to your answer. Okay, and then transcribe the audio. So if you transcribe the audio, this means you write what you said. Write down what you are saying. Okay, finally, look for any mistakes. If you record your answer, you can write down your answer and then look for any mistakes you might make. It looks like the presentation was stuck, so we're gonna go back to the start. I just want to go over it quickly because it looks like for some reason when I do it the full presentation mode, it would not go forward. Okay, so again, if you are struggling to think about what ways to study or how you can study or methods for studying, we're going to talk about successful studying tips. Okay, so first, here are the 5 quick tips again, and I'm going to go over the first few very quickly. So study every day. Make sure you are studying every day. Okay, so again, do you have time in the mornings? Do you have time after work? Do you have time during lunch, maybe? Again, you don't need to always use a pen and paper. You can just write your answers. Or sorry, you can just watch TV shows. Again, listen to podcasts. So you can check out the link in the comments below about listening to podcasts. Again, find the transcript for the podcast. These are the words of what the speaker says. Okay, reading comprehension. So also, again, we have a post about how to use reading comprehension. And here are the 7 steps of reading comprehension. So first, read the story, then write down or underline, highlight the words you do not know. Do not stop reading, finish the story or article. Look up the words in an English dictionary, do not translate them. Then, if you need to, you can translate them. Then write the English meaning of the word, okay? And then finally, reread this story. So let's go back to speaking and recording, where it's like the presentation stopped, or where we left off. So again, if you record your speaking, you can see what mistakes you are making. You can take a practice exam. It's free to take, and you can do that on our website. You could take it for free. If you want an evaluation, you can purchase one, but it is free to record your answer and listen to your answer. Okay, so here are the 7 steps again. So find a list of questions to answer. Answer the questions, record your answers, transcribe your audio, meaning write what you said. Then look for any mistakes. Okay, so when you're speaking, you might not know the mistakes you are making, but when you listen to it, you could see what mistakes were made. Oh, that's better. Okay, so record your answers and then compare both the new recording to your old recording. Okay, then the last tip, create a schedule. So I use this tip for new habits that I want to form, or new habits I want to start. So for example, when I want to start working out, exercising, I use a new calendar for exercising. And every day I complete my workout or complete my exercise, I put an X on the calendar. So go buy a cheap calendar and label it English calendar, or print one online. You can find free calendars online. Actually show you. Okay, so this is my workout calendar. I started yesterday. So I actually broke my foot about 2 months ago. So I'm starting a new workout calendar. So I finished day 1. I can ride a bicycle now. So I'm going to ride a bicycle every day until I can start running again. Okay, so a calendar's a very good way to keep track and to keep yourself doing what you said you will do. Okay, so it's called self-accountability. Okay, so let's go back to presentation. So make sure you put an X for each day you study. Okay, your goal is to study English each day, so then mark it with an X for each day that you study. Okay, give yourself a reward for accomplishing certain days. Okay, so maybe you can give yourself tickets to a movie, and you can go watch an English movie. Okay, something fun based around English. Okay, so then the last couple slides, so just a review. So we talked about 3 different methods for studying: reading comprehension, listening to podcasts, speaking, and recording. Again, all 3 of those you can do in the comments below. I have an example for reading comprehension. It's a story about Christmas in August. Okay, there's also an example of listening to podcasts. You can listen to a podcast about Americans who live in China. And then speaking and recording. Okay, so this one, you can take a practice exam. Okay. Then the two different tactics, so two different ways of using these methods. So study every day and create a schedule. So those are the two different ways to study. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, and something you can do for your homework. So create a daily schedule using the 3 different methods. For example, your schedule might look like this. Monday, you would do a recording. You would record yourself 15 minutes of speech. Okay, and then Tuesday, you would do reading, read 2 different news articles. Wednesday, listening, listen to a 30-minute podcast. Thursday, watch an episode of my favorite TV show. Okay, Friday, recording again. Saturday, reading. Sunday, listening. So you don't need to do a lot every day. If you want to, you could change recording to record 5 minutes of speech. Okay, it does not need to be a lot, but do it every day. That's the most important thing, is to practice. The more you do, the better you will become, the better your English ability will be. Okay, so that's it for the presentation. If you have any questions, you can comment below. Okay, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. This way you know when we will go live, and it will send you an email. You can sign up for notifications. It's a little bell that you can click on underneath the video. Okay. Also, join our email list. That's also in the comments. I send out free lessons to help you either with studying IELTS or other English lessons. Okay. Also, if you want to join the IELTS course, we have one more week, August 28th. The rate will increase, but right now we have a special enrollment period where I will host a webinar, probably several webinars. You may or may not be with other students. It depends on student schedules, and I will email each student to see when they're available. Okay, and then I will also follow up with you with emails to make sure you're learning what you need to be learning and you're preparing well for the IELTS, and to see if you have any questions. Okay, so this is one more week, August 28th. The special enrollment period will end. Okay, you can preview the course with the link again below. Okay, there's also the link about reading comprehension, the link about podcasts, and the link about the practice exam. So it's all below, and please subscribe, like, and share. This will really help me out, and hopefully other students will benefit from these study tips. Okay, so thank you, and we will see you next time.